Yep.
Oh man. All right. What do we got next?
The only other god in the Winter Age, because there were only four, Porkum, the god of life.
Porkum.
Porkum is a god, yes.
Porkum.
And it's a
Please tell me it's
Scrofe
spelled the
god.
way I think it is.
It
Please
is.
tell me it's spelled the way I
Yes.
think it
P O
is.
R C U M.
Yep.
Damn it.
Yeah, Porkum is the god of life. He's just a massive Scrofe. He is a demigod. But he is an independent god by all accounts, thankfully to himself. So he can go all the way over here and rank a demigod. You know, while I'm sitting here for a sec, and before we move on to the next stage, let's name the rankings here. So that way we can have.
Well,
that
let's
down.
start at number 2.
Give me a second.
I would actually do the opposite. I would start from the bottom.
Okay, I'm going to insert one here, and we'll put you there. We'll undo that, because he is his own color. You know what?
So once you're done, we actually get to skip 4 ages, because the only ones in those 4 ages are just the 6 ability god.
Yeah, that's about right. Oop, let's
He's
just
probably gonna head out.
No,
See you
no new
guys.
gods
No
show
worries,
up
man, have a
until
good
the new light.
fair. I'm gonna move some stuff around a little bit here, but there we go. All right. But yes, so Porkum would technically get his own category. He's an independent god. He is just someone who gains the ability. And let me drag him down one. He is just someone who ends up getting really strong and large. So we got our demigod. We're gonna call these fools gods.
That's why I called them false divinity.
Yep. And so
Because you don't have to be a fool to follow them. They're falsely divine.
Yeah, it's fair. For the top, we've got the original gods, because these are basically the original powers, the first gods.
Second would probably be
We're gonna go
high
up
god.
from we're gonna go from the bottom. It'll be a little easier. We got quasi gods, which are basically going to be people in this ranking who have managed to gain divinity and gain a decent amount of power and influence on the world, but may not necessarily be someone who is ideally worshipped.
Okay, and the next rank up, lower godhood.
I'm kind of just jumping around here. Let's see. I would put this at around intermediate god, just for a setup. I have a listing on here, but I don't think the listing fully does credit, to be honest, because we only have the few rankings I've got. So I guess technically these would be the Beyond gods. Or, no, I would say this is original god. And then we're going to do, technically, this would be a Beyond God ranking here. So we actually need to bring all this slightly down one, I think. Because I would also mark Saphira down towards intermediate at this point.
Yeah, you told me Normek was close to intermediate too, so where he is good.
Yeah. Because we're also going to talk about 2 creations that Chaston doesn't have on that list that I do, which are my 2 Beyond gods that we didn't talk about real quick. We have Litzia and Severta. Both are creations by Kedlis, technically. They do both represent something, but they are technically both created by Kedlis's presence. And then we have Litzia, which, again, I will fix up how
So
this
Kedlis
looks.
originally was just a solar dragon.
Yep.
They got really tired of fucking life.
Right. And then I would put Shagnarok being there is right, because them being at that. I would put this as a high god. We'll call this.
Yeah.
I think here will be full. Because High God would be the same ranking. Technically, this would be what Outlet Stone would rise to when he took Alenta's position. So I think that's pretty good. And then a full god being someone who was given typically god powers by another being or having gained god powers.
Then
that
just
way.
above intermediate would be upper god.
Well, I'm gonna bring you down a little bit. Lady of Time is still fine being there. Because she would be a full god. Narrow would not be a Beyond god. He goes down 1. Technically, the primordial goddess would be, but kind of how her existence works doesn't kind of make sense with that. And then Zelm ranking up to the high god is correct. Quasi gods is correct. So, all right.
Upper god.
Let's see. Who's on this ranking? And I hope you don't mind if we take a sec to do this, Justin.
Syracuse.
No,
I think upper would be the best way to put that one.
So these are gods. These will be gods that do probably have, many of them, a creation potential. So I'll put these as creation gods, meaning that this is a god that we know will be able to most likely create life. So anything above this would be able to create something, which is kind of actually no, because the stolen couldn't. No, never mind.
That's why I just suggested upper, because
Yeah, but I want. There's a reason I'm trying to come up with theme or reasons for these. So, let's see.
let's see.
What other rings do I have in here? I have the. Okay, so we have.
Ten
Minor
Guardian
gods.
gods?
Minor gods would rank
Oh,
above our demi or quasi.
Let's see. I know one that would fit 9 is guardian gods, since a lot of those in that rank had full followings.
Got the Spidian. Yeah, they're nation builders. In fact, actually, yes, these are all nation-based gods. So I'm going to call these nation gods, which means it's a fully recognized by the nation that they are a god that would be worshipped by a majority.
they have a church.
Yeah, basically, yeah. You to be this high ranking, you would have a church. I don't know about underneath intermediate, because full god
Lower
being up here makes sense. What do I have? We might hold off on naming all of them because I might wait till I see more of
Split gods?
the gods that I have available. So let's hold off on naming these last two to see what other options I come up with.
Yeah, because the biggest one for 8 right now is the splits off of Stone Corrupt.
All right, Justin, what you got?
You have this one in parentheses, Knowles, Great Wolf.
So yes, the Great Wolf, another one of those gods that does end up getting recreated a few times. Like Ashimar, they can grow their power. In this case, it being a legendary druid. That's mostly due to the druid being or basically taking over the mantle. And yes, I had to step away for a quick sec as I turned on my light so I could see. There we go. So I won't add them back into this again, but they are, at this point, recreated by the Inheritor. Still, not technically above the Fool's God ranking.
Nice.
Yes.
Mutt, the goddess of the saber cat.
Yes. Mutt, if I remember right, is a old god. Yes, from another thing, because I see Sardinia here, which means that this comes from my old D&D or my old game world. Let's see what we got. We gotta scroll through a lot of the tribes. The Gnolls were actually surprisingly one of the most thought out races we had already by the time we were ready. Or we were getting done closing doors. Alright, here it is. Mutt, the goddess of the saber cat. So yeah, Mutt is a god of war. He would come under the Great Wolf as far as it goes, because he's technically also he is a demigod or ranking.
She is a demigod.
Yes. And so she is a half-breed, though. So whereas the Great Wolf would actually be only a fool's god, she would actually gain demigodhood due to the uniqueness of her and the easy to remember how to worship her. So we're gonna quickly insert a column here and clear that out. So she would actually go here. Let me grab her name again. Yeah, Mutt with 1 T. And yep, so let me get her blue, and then we can go to the next one. What you got?
Jung, the god of life.
Oh no. Is this who I think it is? Is Jung the god? Let's see. Yeah, okay. So the Church of Luperus, yes, that Fuka named way back when. So fertility god, another one of those ones like Saber, who is just a demigod, not very high ranked. But does technically fall under the Great Wolf, even though they are technically higher in ranking.
Then we have Luna, who has a very long title of the fertile goddess, also known as the goddess of the moon.
Yeah, sounds about right. What was it again?
Luna.
Luna. Let me see who's pantheon. Ah, she's a Nordic god. Yes. Here we go. Nordic gods. Most are demigods at this point in the histories, even when they get their ranking, but some of them have a little bit more to them. So yeah, she is the goddess of the moon. Her power comes 100% from the moon. However, interestingly enough, technically, her family and her bloodline descends from Yoruba. So that's why I made them their own house. Is because they do actually end up being very interesting of a god. She is actually the only god of the moon in my world, which gives her a lot of fucking power as a full god, because she is recognized as the only god of the moon, or goddess of the moon, and is fully worshipped as that. So she gets a lot of divinity to her, even though her original line isn't very high. Which
all
in
their
my
power
world,
went to him.
all
went
the
to that one.
gods, basically, the way they judge each other amongst the houses is who the founder. So if your founder's not very strong, but you grow to strength, you will still be looked down on by people of like fool's god ranking, if they could understand. Even if you're a high god, because of the fact that you got ranked low ranked god. So keep that in mind.
Granted, there's probably some in here that would be humble enough not to, but
Most, yeah.
Then we have Titus.
Titus, yes, a god. He is the father god, supposedly the most powerful in the Nordic. This isn't true. Luna is, because Titus shares a pantheon shares the title of god of war with Ruba, which actually loses him a lot of fucking power because of it. However, because he is the father of Luna, technically, and the son of Yoruba, Titus is actually considered a demigod, even though as a god of war. Not very powerful, but he is someone who has a recognized following and is, falls under the followers of Luna.
Next is Rufus.
Yes, the brother. Rufus is the god of sin. Interesting enough, one of my only gods of sin, which also ranks him a lot fucking higher than most gods. Because, again, with his individual ranking, he doesn't have much to compete with amongst the houses. So he gets a lot more divinity, and is generally treated as a god of liquor, similar to, I forget the Greek god's name now.
Dionysus?
Yes, thank you. I was like, it starts with a D, I just don't know the rest of it.
Yeah, fun fact, that translates to Denny.
Yeah, that's fair. Is the next one Tiberius?
It is Tiberius.
Yes, god of battle. Tiberius is the son of Titus, and Tiberius is a god. He is a demigod, but his power is extremely low because he is a god of battle. He doesn't get many followers, so he is actually at the same level as his father. Oops. There we go. God of battle.
Next one's a more specific god, Odinian, god of the sword.
Yes.
The more specific, the more powerful.
Nope. Not in this
No.
situation. He is supposedly a son of Titus and Luna. Yes.
That doesn't...
Yes. I know, which means he's technically, because Tiberius is the twin brother of Titus. Rufus is just an independent, he's also the brother of Titus, and Luna is referred to as the daughter of Titus, as well as the wife of Titus. She's considered a warrior queen, but at the same time, there's a lot of mixed understanding in here, so... Yeah.
Bad translations are bad.
And I do this on purpose because I think it makes the lore more interesting, where players have to interpret it a little more. So, I won't share what like my true views are on it, but I will give you guys. I will kind of explain that there are splits here. So Odinian, he is a simple demigod, not very high ranked. Quasi-god. He does have a little bit of a ranking to him compared to his father, because yes, he is a god who is specifically a god of sword. Problem is, no one prays to swords. So it's really hard for him to gain much
I mean, yeah, I
power.
feel like people that would worship a sword, like praise swords and everything, would be like very devoted swordsmen.
Yeah.
Uh,
So, Odinian gains quasi deity because he is technically he is powerful because of what he represents, but his actual power is more on the level of his father.
Can we
Uh,
get him? Can we just get him Zoro? Someone to worship him? Just give him Zoro.
then we have Grathlin.
Grathlin. Let's look it up.
They are right next to the creation of looks like the Orcs gods.
Yes, this is
We
Orcs
have
with
the-
a K.
Yeah, because we have Smirk, Grelf, and Thorn right after.
Yes. Let me scroll down to here. Alright, so yeah, we got Grathlin, Smirk, and Grelf and Thorn. Kind of speaks for itself. Funny enough, Smirk is a demigod in technical lore, but he's not as far as his power. Smirk is technically on the same ranking as an intermediate god due to the fact that he is a god of bad luck. And there are enough people who
Specifically.
are irritated at bad luck that gains him power. He's also technically not the founder of his. He is considered the head of his gods. So he would be the independent, even though he is a son. So we're gonna give him his first.
I thought we were on Gren, the first one.
We are, but I'm just going through the whole setup here to kind of get it easily done. So
Also-
Smirk would be around here as the god Bad Luck. And
The hate. You know what? We could summarize that with just God of. We could summarize that with just Avery. That
I feel
bot
like,
rolls terribly.
Cameron, this is the one god that you should hate more than anybody.
What are you talking about? I've had great luck.
Yeah. I call these the bad lucks because of well, I mean it's the orcs.
We could call it the clan or the boys. Come on.
That sounds
They're
weird.
not all boys though.
No, they're not.
There's
Well,
a
the
goddess
boys are
in
always
here.
looking for a fight.
There's a goddess in here named Grelf.
It's true.
She's always looking for a fight too.
Yeah, we got
Goddess of the no, she's not. She's a goddess of the womb.
1, 2, 3. Okay, so 3 columns. Easy enough.
And I'm guessing that's because the very first one is related to the dragons.
What? The orcs?
Yeah.
New. Smirk is an independent. Well, I'll look to double check. But Smirk is independent for his house.
I was talking
Grathlin.
about
Oh yeah,
Gwent.
Grathlin being a dragon god, also known as the Dragon of Fire or in Himkin by the dwarves. So yes, Grathlin is technically under their own position. We already have them up here as Himkin. But when they use their true name, which is the problem of why I'm not going to add this into here. Grathlin's technically higher ranked. I would roughly, if I had to, put Grathlin maybe around the same ranking as an intermediate. But because of the fact that he is technically Himkin, I'm going to leave him with his name because he doesn't become Grathlin until he becomes a full dragon after he rises to godhood, and then he immediately is slain. So his story pretty much ends. But
That's
he's
fair.
worshipped by the orcs, so I'm
I'd
going to
say-
leave him as a demigod because that's what
I'd
he's
say
known
make-
for.
I'd say put a note on there. That way you remember that he has that going on though.
That's fair.
Second name.
I mean, yeah.
Then did you put Grelf down?
Give me a second. I will put a Munchin of Grathlin here as a gray or as a like dark gray blocks to mention. Give me a sec. No, okay. So we got Grelf and we got Thorn.
Yep.
So she is Thorn's mother. And Thorn is a half orc. So Thorn would be another god of war who would be very low ranking, counting as a demigod. So
I'd like to make a point that Justin said that Growth isn't looking for a fight. She killed millions.
yeah.
Doesn't mean she looked right, just means she killed millions.
And Grelth is the mother of Thorn, and actually is one rank above him, just barely. With these two falling under the Bad Luck House. I think it was that. Wait, hold up. There's where's the
one more
eye drop
shade.
thing? You know, they used to have that in here. There we go. Then it works. Okay, what's next?
Zarthon.
Oh no, Zarthon. Okay, let's see. I think I know that's a Deerco god, but let's see. Zarathon. Don't pay attention. Well, that's not it. How do you spell it?
Zarthon.
Zarthon.
Yep.
Did I not write them anywhere? Oh, they're Tigraxy's god.
Yeah, it was the next one.
Yeah, so him and Halil. Yeah, the Zarthon's a creator god. So Zarthon does technically fall under the race of the crystal, because he's actually technically part of a descendant line of his. Not directly, but technically he is. And he is a creator god who is recognized nationwide. So Zarthon would be ranked here, and his wife, the mother of the who is considered like a fertility god, actually drops about, I'd say about quasi here. Real quick, Halil. Because both of these are considered, well, Zarthon's a creator god of his race. He is technically, with them splitting off, when their species of Tabaxi split off to become the Rakshasa, they are the origin species of what my Tabaxi are. So, creator god. I'll have to go back through here later and write through the creator gods to make sure I mention or note them. Okay, what do we got after that?
Now we get into the fun ones. Nazarick the Fool.
Nazarick. He is a godstone creates, technically. So...
I had to say that. Fuck you.
And as Nazarick is here, you should know who's right after Nazarick.
Yeah, Nazarick, by the end of his life, he was only a quasi-god when the what the party did to him. He's a god. He was the god of rage and wrath, which gave him a lot of power. But because he couldn't rise to divinity fast enough,
we bitch slapped that man.
Yes, yeah. All right, what's the next one?
Logalthus the God Butcher.
Yep. So Log does found his own house and is recognized as a god of the beyond. So we do got to come down here real quick.
He finally recently rose.
Yep. And he is known as as death itself. Nothing further is needed to create his title. And we're just gonna add this in here because we can. We'll go with Logalthus's sadness, because he's very upset that he got stuck with being forced to grab deities.
Logalthus's remorse might be better.
That works. Listen, I just need to get the point across. And then, so we will rank Terra, who is considered a minor deity now. Sidus, who is known as the White Thief. For their glows.
The white. You have yours the Bright Thief.
T-H-I-E-F.
Thank you. Right. Yeah. No, I know. I was gonna fix it. I am baked. It will take me a second as I'm writing things to remember what I'm doing.
The Bright Thief. It's one word.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Next up, we're going in order is the Beast of Time.
You know what, you little shit? You're becoming a problem. You fucking thinking you're all that now.
No, I'm just enjoying that typing job. It's amazing. You'd make fun of me for the same shit.
At least I didn't, have to stare and use Grammarly to fix my fucking paragraph intro.
I didn't use it to fix my paragraph.
No, I did, because it was so bad I couldn't help you.
Good.
But go ahead, yeah.
Okay, the Beast of Time. Big ol' Loxodon.
Technically, he is a creation of the High Kings. However, Wolf will probably argue that one because he was part of the party.
The High King's cat.
Yeah, he was an intermediate god. What was his name again in there?
The Beast of Time.
You have the Beast of Time.
Yeah, it's Haruj.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not gonna forget Beast of Time. Yeah, who would get forced under the poor High King, who would later have to deal with that.
Well, it's his own fault.
We have 11 gods left.
Okay, not too bad.
Next is Kanat, the scaled musician.
The god of death. Yes. Technically, he was given divinity by, I believe, the High King gave him power.
Combat thing.
Yeah, and he ended up, Knet ended up the god of death through that, at that point, as, the same level as, oh no, he'd be lower, because, Haruj was, part of the, Holy Trinity, so he'd be, a nation god. Okay.
Adara. Adara Nog.
Yeah, Adara was created by Log in all technicality, in my belief. Adara is technically a demigod.
She was worshipped entirely, though, so Quasi might.
No, she wasn't. She wasn't very popular amongst the humans after Log left, because of Log's relations with them. But he would create her into a. I'll leave her at Quasi for now.
I mean, fair. He kind of blew up a city.
Yeah.
Next, I think is my favorite name among the gods of Age of Divinity, Lord Gundersling.
Yes, another god that Wolf created. It was one of his 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Is Mr. Snips after that?
Yes.
So there's 2 more. Okay, give me a second.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're gonna go through all this. Yes, Wolf enjoyed creating his apocalypse riders, and unfortunately, all of them ranked lower. So yeah, Lord Gundersling was the guy that Wolf just fucking destroyed the guy's castle. He was known as the Mountain originally because he was a massive dude. And so to kill him, Logothus had to walk in there and suicide himself basically to use the Void Exchange to destroy the entire castle because they couldn't kill Lord Gundersling. They were that scared of him at level like 14.
Fair.
Yeah. So we got Welf, who would become the consumer, which you think sounds like, oh, he bought things. No, he ate people. And then lastly, Mr. Snips, who's actually, in my opinion, he would be higher, only because he was actually a recognized god amongst doctors. So I'm actually going to put him at nationwide because the humans did actually look to him as a proper god for medicine.
I want to ask, because I can't
even
see
though his only cure.
Did you put Mr. Snips even though his name is Ansem?
His name's Mizna. Ansem's his first character.
Predecessor.
Yeah, no, Ansem is later on.
You have him written in here as Ansem, parentheses, Mr. Snips.
Or it might have been switched. Ansem, one of them, is Trent's character.
Mizna became Mr. Snips because he.
The idea of him evolved across the world and basically caused people to be so fearful of it, but also recognize it as the medical genius he was because he got one lucky fucking medicine roll. And so
he cured everything with castration.
Yeah, he's recognized as the god of medicine.
Alright, well, next is Trinitas.
Another god that Log created, his son, who was created. Trinitas actually lost divinity and was killed, I believe, sadly. But before Trinitas died, he was a quasi-deity.
You did inform me of that. Freya apparently got one of the last hits on him. Fun.
Yeah. Give me a second.
Then we have first god in the current age, or close age, that I have never heard of.
Who?
Dione.
Oh yes,
that fucker.
Created by Saphira. This is and Mr. Snips technically. Mizna got attacked on his in his intro to the campaign by Saphira, who forced herself on him because he decided to make a joke about something on a dragon, and he about the Dragonborn or something like that, and he wouldn't let it go. So I finally took it back and gave payback for this. Dione is eventually will be an heir of Saphira's, but she does not found her own house. And also, Dione, while Dione is a god, and she's a creator god, because she is a creator god of her own race, god of snow elves, her brother is a fool's god, doesn't technically have any divinity. But yes, and what's her brother's name? Because I know you're about to read it.
Mumrus?
Mumrus, yeah. Is it M-U-M-R-U-S?
M-U-M-R-A-S.
A-S, okay. Yeah, Mumrus doesn't actually have any powers, but he's Dione's twin, and Dione continues to sleep with him to keep their race. Yeah.
Okay.
But he is recognized as a god king.
Concubine to the creator.
Yep.
We have an overall god that didn't do their job. The god of peace, Isaiah Silversong.
Yes.
Well, she fell almost immediately as a fucking god of their own creating.
Yes, she would be an independent god, but she would not be a true god because she got actually made by Cyrus Galadron. But Zaya, a Raven Song, or known as Zaya, the Peaceful Raven, as she would later become known as.
And she lasted for a lot longer than some of the other gods of peace that have risen.
Yep. And
not gone to
technically,
sleep immediately.
we do have to note that Cyrus's, we'll call them the Cyrus's crowned, because he did technically crown these people as gods. Let's choose that. He would actually be the one who gave divinity to Zaya.
Cyrus was not.
Huh? Yeah, Cyrus. Yeah, Cyrus was a high god who had gained the title of the High King. King 2, because that's what he would be known as, and then Galadron, and he would found his own godly house, and his son Anton would also technically gain godhood as a god of the lost. And he would become a god of the lost children. Those children who basically lost their parents during the great unseating of the High King.
He's the one with the orphanages.
The
Get
last
'em, boys.
god, the last god, the weakest sword master, and the named by Tensub the smartass, Bardris Stone's End.
Yes,
The
Bargus.
The shortest lived god of anyone on this list.
Yes, you were one of those few who would end up an independent god, but technically you were a fiend.
He was a fiendish god for 3 days in game time.
Yep, and you
then
had
he
the
fucked
same
off.
ranking as an intermediate god at the time, Stone Send. Yes.
Well,
I
what
only-
was... Oh
I
yeah,
only
he had the name
avoided-
Voss as well.
At one point, yeah, but Bardris was his true name. Also, he only survived because he was given the contract by a Beyond God to protect the planet. The Beyond God showed him that everything was being killed, and he said, "You said the planet, not the people." So he got to live because he was a smartass.
Yep. And then Chad Chadicus is actually considered a god now.
Oh, god damn it! He's a donkey.
Yeah,
Leave the donkey alone.
he is a god of the god of the donkeys.
So you're saying if we is he still allergic to cheese?
Yes.
He's a
Good,
donkey.
I'm going to kill him.
We know where the donkey is too.
And there
I'm
you
going
go.
to kill him.
That has been every god in my world up to this date. Let's see. As we finish this off, what do we rank this as? So we got split personalities. We got the Great Furnace. I think
And that's the majority of what's there. Those are
Yeah.
splits.
I think these are the split generation gods, or the
Split gen.
split personality. We'll call them gods.
Which
Or-
are basically the middle. They're exactly in the middle of the gods. They're like the middle pack.
Actually, yeah.
They're kind of the middle.
We're gonna call these also lesser gods in this ranking, in this title, because what the hell? That would be technically kind of what they are at that point. They are lesser than the intermediates, but still higher than the nation to specify. So, and I'll just put split personality because that's gonna be typically the common trope of that generation of gods, or that grouping of gods. Because as we can see, the only other god ranked in this is the Great Furnace, who's also a breakoff of the
Meso Musa.
no, he's a breakoff of the mountain that Normak later takes over, and isn't technically a worshipped being. It's a furnace that one stone golem or one stone giant worshipped, and then the dwarves found it and said they were going to worship it and use it to their to craft things. And then Normak
And
showed
then
up
Normak
and then
showed up
basically
and said,
took it
"Fuck
over.
all of you. I'm
Yeah.
taking it. This is mine."
Yes, so I feel like that's fine.
And treat it with respect.
Let's see, what do we got here? We got Rufus the God of Sin. We have nothing there. We continue through. Yeah, it's just let's see.
We do have a lot more there
Ella
because we have.
Ubo, and then Sarah Zeki. So,
those guys all make up a trinity with their lore, a very specific thing.
Yeah, their kind of thing is they're monsters risen to godhood, I think. So I'm gonna call this the monster gods because I think that's about accurate. Sarazeki being a aberration, he was a giant beholder. As I mentioned, he was technically part of the draconic species because in my world, aberrations, as I mentioned, are ruled as just really messed up dragons. There are subspecies of dragon that screwed up on their transformation or something went wrong during their aging process. And so they turned into this. As far as it goes, the only other creations in this are Ella Ugbo, who was a former fiend that basically Stone the Corrupt captured and forced her to serve in his position. She grew a consciousness and really loved mortals and watched over them
no
with
offense,
kindness.
being forced work for that psychopath would make anybody realize they're not as bad as they think.
Yeah, that's true. Besides this, we have Rufus, the god of sin, which I feel like that just speaks for itself, him being amongst that level of rank.
They would also be upper or high, or upper gods would be the best descriptor because
And
they
at
are
this
more
point,
powerful than intermediate.
I think that the concept of monster god is a good way of explaining how these gods will gain power from here. To get from monster to high, the whole ranking comes down to your ability to take on other gods, in a sense. Your power is now deemed based on your ability to combat other gods, god wars, the fights of the holy orders, and such like that.
Now, who's going to tell Robot that he failed to slay all the dragons?
Right. And then lastly, we've got our Beyond Gods, which these are the gods that we know all are factual gods. These are gods who created a rule of existence. Anything above this line would be someone who has created something to this world that exists. And then, of course,
granted, getting to that point is not impossible, it's just difficult.
True. And then lastly, of course, we have our original gods. The three originals, Kedliz,
which
Thief,
no one can actually reach.
Yes, and Tensub. Which I imagine makes you feel a little bit better, Chastin, now hearing that Tensub was that powerful and, you made the decision not to screw around with the guy.
I knew he was that powerful.
That
Motherfucker came
Kedliz
in.
was a solar dragon.
He came in when I was a level 20 god and blocked all of my perception. I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
This is bad.
So, I really wish Kedliz would have done something to help Normak, because he was doing the most chaotic thing in the world by not letting those races die out.
True.
Was their
But now you guys
the good
finally
form of chaos.
have a proper ranking and an explanation with the video to back it up on every ranking of every god in my world thus far. Roughly in a good order. Some of the, I'll eventually have to kind of adjust some of these, but at least you know the power ranking in comparison. It's going to be kind of hard to adjust these to look right, but we'll work with this for now. And I think this gives a pretty hefty understanding of how the gods were. How, in Kedliz's case, most of them ended up serving underneath Kedliz. They stayed, as part. I actually might merge this, I'm thinking, because that kind of gives the whole perspective of this is Kedliz's house. I don't know. But yeah, so you can kind of see now that there weren't many breaks amongst the houses. The only one that was kind of known was Grathlin. And it kind of shows, as the other houses break up. Thief's house kind of breaks up into Stones, who eventually ends up founding other gods. You've got the Lady of Time, who ends up creating her own from Thief. And then in Tensub's case, he, again, doesn't have to worry too much, and neither do the Primordials. But you start to see where some of these other gods are created based on just the race's capabilities. Which really shows how many gods are capable, or how many people are capable of becoming gods in my world. Because there's a lot more adventurers that have managed to
Eventually,
do so.
Nick will ascend.
Yeah.
Ascend with orbs!
I may as well slot this question so it's in the video and I have evidence. So you told me Terra gained a minor divinity, like a lower in death when she came into Log, right?
Yeah.
That's part of her now, right? So if Log dies, does that stay, or
you will lose your power. You will go down back to a quasi-deity if Log dies.
What if they worship me as Death God and then Log vanishes?
Doesn't matter.
Because then I would be the only...
The portion of your divinity that has bumped you up to the minor god rank right now, in your current situation, is almost completely due to Log's capabilities to help you formate your powers.
However, once you get past that, you may end up founding your own house and getting past him.
And that is not my words, but yes, that is an option you could theoretically do. You could break away from him, as Wolf has made very clear he doesn't care about whether or not you stay with him.
Yeah, he was kind of upset when he found out I was a stoner goddess.
Yeah, and so you can fully break away from him now that you're useless because he's gotten what he wanted out of you at this point. So,
Okay.
but yeah, that might.
I'm wondering what the fuck you wanted from Terra, because
Well, he needed me to do something, and I was a goddess of thievery. So, and the only thing he told me to do was to stop the end of the world event that was happening, and I technically did.
That is 3 videos of over an hour, almost 2 hours worth of content for the people watching this on YouTube's. Thank you for watching this on the World of Silencia channel. This has been the world, or the creator's creation, and this has been the DM proving that he is not done with his book. He just needs some time to get some ideas flowing. Thank you all for watching, and we will see you on the next one.